can be a city, province, postal code. You can click on the map and say, I want to do a 5-kilometer radius around this point and find out who lives in that place. Okay, so let's do everybody dreams of doing, let's do a Christmas tree farm. Okay, a Christmas tree farm. We want to do a Christmas tree farm. Okay, so save the changes. That's just the name of our project. Now, we want to create a map. So we have here a map. So now, the map that comes up, there are 2 ways to go about it. One is that you have the full address, and the other one is that you can find this on your, you can use this map to determine where you want to go. So I'm just going to show you, this is downtown Toronto. We're not starting off business in downtown Toronto. So we'll go 350 kilometers north to Ottawa, where we still have 15 inches of snow. Okay, and then we'll zero in on our location. Okay. Christmas tree farm has to be in the country, and so we're in the country. Okay, so you could use this map to determine where you want to go. So if you do this map click thing, then you click to add a point, and let's just say it's right about here, right there. So, and then you would choose area type, the time. Let's say we want people shop for Christmas trees, drive time off peak, and they will only drive a maximum of 10 minutes to chop down a Christmas tree, which is not true. But this is a map, and it's telling you this is everywhere 10 minutes drive time from that place to your place. So if you go to a bank and you say, well, how many people live within a 10-minute drive of the business that you're starting, the first question they want to know is how many people live there. So Beavertail. Okay, so we save. All right, so now we've created a map. Now we need a benchmark. Create a benchmark. So we have here, we'll create a benchmark. And benchmark is anything you want to compare yourself to. Okay, so we're back to where we were. What we will do now, okay, we already have, I want to create a profile. We have a standard benchmark. Standard benchmark is this. Okay, so we have Beavertail Road here, okay? We want to know as much as we can about Beavertail Road, and the data source we'll be doing will be the Census Plus. And so, Just give it a minute. Okay. Oops. It's too much.
Should you name your dashboard?
Okay, so and this is our dashboard. And this tells you all about, in that area, the types of people that live in the 10 minutes from that particular location, satellite burbs, exurban wonderland, and management material. And so, now I want to go on and just show you a little bit about the reports that you can get from this. Reports that I will be accepting or I want to look at for the assignment. So we want to look at the executive report trade area. Okay, so we have population and households. Okay, so we have the area here, Beavertail Road, and we want to compare that with the city of Ottawa. Okay, so we have in the benchmark the city of Ottawa. So what it's going to give us is a demographic report comparing this location with the city of Ottawa. Let's look at the dashboard now. Now let's look at segmentation. Just the segmentation. Okay, so what this tells you, there are two top segments in the Beavertail Road area, material management and in satellite burbs. So, next week we'll go over this in greater detail, but I wanted to talk about as well about the assignment that I'm going to give you now. The assignment. So this is our assignment for April 16th. Okay, so it's worth 16% of the final mark, and the presentation is 9% of the final mark. It's not a very difficult assignment from a technical point of view, but there's a lot of work that you need to be doing. So it's a trading area analysis and report to obtain bank flow for a new business from a chartered bank. And so I will give you the type of business, the location, and the trading areas assigned. And so you'll use Environetics Envision to find out the demographics and the segments, the psychographic segments that are important in that area. Okay? Because City of Ottawa, there are many, many different segments of the population, and different neighborhoods have different segments. So if you're going to set up a jewelry store, you want to set the jewelry store up in a neighborhood with people who can afford the jewelry. So that's a big consideration in where you locate a jewelry store, or a store that sells fine clothes for professionals, as opposed to a snowmobile dealership, which would be in the country somewhere. So what I want you to do is there are three things I want you to do, right? There are three types of reports I want. So I'm good, this is group one. Group one, your location is Algonquin College, and you want to set up a student restaurant on campus to appeal to men, women, age 18 to 29, students, and recent graduates. And what you want to do is you provide a trading analysis area in the following ways, and use Environetics Envision to do a circle or not a radius, a walking distance of 5 kilometers, which isn't necessarily a perfect circle. A driving radius of 5 kilometers, again, a driving distance of 10 minutes. So there are three ways you can approach this. One is the walking distance. Some people walk to restaurants. Driving, some people drive, and it's a 5 kilometer radius, which will be a perfect circle. And then a driving distance of 10 minutes. That is, people won't drive somewhere if it's more than 10 minutes. This one here, 705 Beavertail Road, type of business, recreational vehicles, snowmobiles, dirt bikes, something that's more appropriate for the country. And your target market here is more men than women, aged 25 to 54, rural and exurban, occupation, manufacturing sector, resources, agriculture, retail, not executive, professional, or educational sector. And again, I've given you the parameters in which you would work in. Group 3, this is a golf equipment store on Manat River Road in Manotick. Again, I've given you a target market, men, women, aged 45 to 79, suburban and exurban, occupation, executive management, professional, education, university and college, household income, $150,000 and up. So what you want to do is you want to provide a trading and area analysis in the following ways. So you have all that. Okay. Can I ask you, please, if you have any problems, you can go here. This will answer a lot of your questions. And also, if you want to look at the different PRISM lifestyle categories, there's this segmentation. As well. So the report has to be a trading area analysis of the three types. You're going to compare your trading areas with the City of Ottawa, okay, the City of Ottawa, and you provide a trading and area analysis, and the report has to include the following. Cover page. Sometimes some of you don't include reports with cover pages. It's time to include a cover page on your report. It really does make a difference. Executive summary should always have an executive summary. The objectives of this analysis, worth 10%. What Environics Envision is and why this has been using for this report. You go to a bank, they've never heard of Environics Envision, so you have to tell them this is what it is. Don't spend too much time, it's only worth 5%. The 3 area trade maps from the executive report, they will give you a map of the area that you're measuring. The demographics, these 3 is what I'm interested in. Again, you run the executive report, the demographics for your area, provide supporting evidence of household size, population by age of children at home. Now, you must tell me in the report if that's important, okay? And if it's not important, say it's not important, okay? Not in every case is household size important. It might be important when you're selling home appliances or furniture or something like that, but if you're setting up a restaurant, it may not be so important. Population by age, that's going to make a big difference, right? If you're setting up a bar for students, then that's going to be a big thing. Age of children at home, maybe not. Housing and income, of course. Average household income, that's very important depending on the product you're selling. If you have a BMW dealership, average household income is going to be extremely important. Education as well, educational attainment. If you're setting up a scientific bookstore, educational attainment is crucial to the success of your business. Diversity, languages spoken at home, immigration, and non-official language. So if you're setting up a French language bookstore in Leonard County, where 99% of the population is Anglophone, that might not be a great place to set up a French language bookstore. Then there's something called demostats, which is their forecast of the demography of that area in 10 years from today. And so they identify the areas that are shaded in red or blue. I want you to identify those for me. Now, the top prison segments, those are the 68 lifestyle segments, and you will get that as well from the database, and I want to identify why it's important. For instance, if you're setting up a jewelry store near Rockcliffe Park, for instance, there's going to be certain kinds of segments that are likely to buy jewelry and some that are not. And then, what's really important now that you're about to, some of you are going to be starting in the government, some of you have got other jobs elsewhere, really important to finish off your report with a summary of the data plus 5 key takeaways. Okay, so the takeaways are really important in any presentation. This is what the audience must take away from the presentation. They may not remember the other 15 minutes of your presentation, but they will remember that. Okay, what's really important here as well is do not just present the data. I'm not that interested in the data because we're not actually going into business ourselves, but you must make a case for this location in your report. Okay, so that's really important. What's important is that you use the data, you analyze it, and you make a case for why the bank should lend you the money to do this. So that in a nutshell is the exercise that I want you to do in 2 weeks. And it's a group assignment, and it's really not that difficult, especially not the technical part. Pulling the data out will not be that difficult. Does anybody have any questions? We will do this next week, okay? We will go through another example of this next week, and we'll give you, each group gets a different case, okay? You can't all do the same case. Each group will do a different case, and we'll go through it next week, and much easier, you know, for me to give you an assignment, and you come back to me with your questions, and if I can answer them. And also, I would appreciate by next week, if you have any particular problems, I'll go to Environics and they'll give me the answer. if I can't help you. So, that's it for that. I've given you the assignment. You have your passwords and your usernames, and I've also posted beside this one on week 12 through 14 a basic guide. So when you go into the database, go into environmental supervision, you'll see the things you have to click on to get the results. I don't want, because after April, you won't have access to this data file. You won't be able to use it anyway. So what's really important is to get the data and analyze it. But on the other hand, if you are in an interview in a few months and they use Environics Analytics, and it is primarily used by people in the service sector, so because they're serving locations, anybody who does geographic marketing would use this. I'm sorry to tell you that those of you who are coming to work for the federal government, we don't subscribe to Environics Analytics, but it's a good thing to have, knowing about it anyway. So, shall we start the presentations now? Could we start with group 1, please?
Yes.
Group 1? Sorry?
Because I get